composting aerobically, methane is still produced, but not as much. And so for my project, I really wanted to spread mindful waste habits and participate in climate action and help people participate in climate action. And so I held workshops. This has really been my baby since January. I applied for a grant by the Sustainable Equity and Justice Fund, which gives grants to students for sustainability projects on campus. And I advertised it, that's my poster, and I sourced materials with this money from the grant. I went to the local farm store and got hay and blood meal, alfalfa pellets because they're high in nitrogen, and cracked corn because the starches are really liked by fungi. I also used grant money to buy buckets for people to bring their own food waste to compost at the farm. So they can really see end to beginning or beginning to end their food that they eat, the waste, and then see how it decomposes in action and participate in that. I also source grass from City Sprouts Farm because you need a lot of material to begin a thermophilic compost pile. Coffee grounds from I Want a Mocha, a local coffee store. Leaves, weeds, and chicken poop from the Outback Farm. So I also sourced materials from the site that the composting occurred. And there were 3 workshops in total. Admittedly, most people came to the first one, but I had people, about 5 people returning every week to come to the later one. So I taught about 13 or so people in total how to compost. And I had actually never done thermophilic composting before. I had participated in building one pile, but not managing it when I worked at City Sprouts Farm. But it just goes to show how I was really successful. It was a great time. And anyone can really do this. So, and you don't really have to precisely measure stuff if you're worried about the carbon to nitrogen ratio. You're kind of adding about roughly 1-to-1 brown to green stuff and mixing it all up because nitrogen escapes in the atmosphere, and so there's more carbon in the end. I met and interacted with a lot of different people and critters, like bees, centipedes, spiders, worms, and such. Oh, and this is the compost pile after the first session. So you can see it's really fresh, it's really green. There's not a lot decomposed yet. And over time, this is 2 weeks in, it heats up. You can see the composting action. That's a little centipede guy. And you can see it all becoming brown. We're getting kind of mixed up. Things are breaking down. There's little particles of stuff everywhere. And you have to turn it. I turned it twice a week, but you can really turn it as much as you want. Yeah, yes. And so turning the pile, you kind of want to make a donut of sorts. You want to push everything to the side and have a hole in the middle. And then you want to add your more fresh material, so stuff on the outside and stuff on the top to the inside. You keep alternating inside, outside as you turn it so that everything really gets cooked evenly and turned around. And I learned a lot from this workshop experience, but also my research over this whole time in college and tending soils and ecologies. So first one I want to talk about is connection. As you compost, you connect more to the food that you eat. You can see it become soil again. It's a reason to get outside and to see the sunshine, breathe the air, meet different little organisms all around. And you kind of get to experience how ancient and interconnected the earth is as you see how the soil is everywhere and so alive, but it also takes a lot of time to turn into soil. And I think we don't appreciate that as much as we should. And community composting in particular is an opportunity to build local networks of care for people and for the land and all of the non-human creatures that we depend upon. And then how to learn lessons about balance and respect. As I become more mindful of my actions and their rippling effects in the environment, I see compost as a way to live in a more profound balance with the web of life, and as a way to pay back to the earth what it gives us. Composting, moreover, nourishes the biogeochemical cycles, whereas throwing biodegradable material into the landfill, into the trash, contributes more to global warming. And it's also disrespectful, I think, to the life and the energy sacrificed to feed us. So I think it's a really profound form of respect that we can pay back to the earth by composting. And ultimately, we can't keep taking from the soil bank indefinitely. We have a responsibility to make deposits. So my final thoughts. Waste is a resource. I think we need to change how we see it and change our habits with how we throw things out. Soil is alive, it's full of life, and we really depend on that life. Composting is essential to circular, social, and environmental systems. As you can see, we really need to have things be full circle, and our modern industrial society and waste habits often close the circle and kind of diverts off, and you're not really getting inputs to sustain life. And ultimately, we all eat food, we all produce waste. So I think that we all share a responsibility to compost and to feed the soil as the soil feeds us. So finally, I implore you all to help me feed the soil as she feeds us. And finally, acknowledgements. I'd like to thank Annie Bach, obviously, who has really instilled me with the love of soil and taught me a lot about what I know. Ellie Duncan, who has been really integral to this project. She's helped me so much. She's taught me how to farm, how to compost, and she's really supported me through this whole thing. Funding, I'd like to thank the WW Sustainability, Equity, and Justice Fund Grant and Committee for making this all happen. Without them, I wouldn't be able to buy the materials to do this and teach people how to compost. And then furthermore, I'd like to thank mentors and people of support. Zinta from the Sustainability Engagement Institute. She's helped me advertise and kind of sort out this whole grant stuff. Carrie Kempton, the Outback Farm Manager, for lending me the space and materials to be able to host the workshops. Kyle Babcock, who is a friend of Ellie and City Sprouts, who is also a soil scientist and consultant professionally, has taught me a lot about giving me some good advice going into these workshops. Furthermore, I'd like to thank Brian and Paul of the Whatcom Permaculture Group, who I've spent some time with and learned about composting and ecology systems. And finally, I'd also like to thank the workshop series participants, because there wouldn't be a workshop without the participants. And it was really a joy to get to know them all and to teach them how to compost. And finally, the ecological community at the Outback Farm, because they're the ones doing all of the work decomposing the stuff for us. So yeah, that's it. These are my sources. Thank you. I'd like to open the floor to any questions now.